you get off the show. You have your
Uh-huh.
little time period until the show airs. We
Uh-huh.
discussed at the first of this podcast kind of like when the show ended up coming around and billboards not being, where you thought that they were going to be, and it was just like predominantly one city. When
Yep.
you got off the show, what did you think reception and the promo and everything was going to be like when was going to come out?
I really thought that it was gonna blow up, like, because our cast was so talented. Like, the level of talent in our cast was just incredible. Like, all of those girls are so amazing, and I just thought, like, for sure this season's gonna blow up because first of all, it's been way too long since season 1. Like, it was, like, a year and a half or something. So I was like, or no, more than a year and a half. No, yeah, it was like a year and a half, a little less than a year and a half. So I don't know, whatever, something like that. So I thought for sure that it was going to blow up. It was going to be amazing. It was going to be even bigger than season 1. Da da da. But I kept my expectations low because I'm not the type of person who likes to count my chickens before they hatch, or I try not to. So I really kept my expectations low, and I was like, you know what? If it ends up like just where season 1 was, and I end up with a career similar to my friends who were on season 1, like Boa or Juicebox or Tainomi or all those people, then that would be totally fine with me. And I like can absolutely live with that because they're doing well, and that's great. It was not that. So temper your expectations a little bit more, maybe. Um, but yeah, it was not what we expected. We all were expecting it to really, really hit.
I think I was expecting the same thing too, and I was like, just like seeing feedback or reception. I was like, wait, the show's on right now. Why is nobody tweeting about it? Like the show is like, this is happening right now. Like what's going on? Um, did you see any uptick in gigs or business or anything afterwards, or was it pretty flat around?
Oh yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, yeah, like I got a bunch of viewing party gigs that I would have never gotten otherwise, and they paid a lot more than I'd ever been paid for drag before. But after the show stopped airing and after I was off the show, it was pretty much done. And all my viewing parties, I had a viewing party for episode 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and they were all canceled week after week, canceled, 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 canceled. Yeah, so you can imagine how stressful that was. Like, okay, I was counting on that money
Mm-hmm.
to pay back the money that I borrowed to go on the show. I was counting on a full season of viewing parties so that I could pay back the people who loaned me money and try to have a little bit of financial
Mm-hmm.
security. But it just didn't happen like that, unfortunately. So, and I hate to be the bitch always complaining about it, but like, we all feel this way. And I'm just the only one who is willing to say it for whatever
Yeah.
reason, you know? I don't think I'm saying anything bad about the show, the producers, certainly not saying anything bad about World of Wonder because it has nothing to do with them. But it's just, it just didn't happen the way that it was supposed to, like in my mind and in the minds of the rest of the cast. And we all have been, we've all dealt with, a lot of negative emotions about it.
Yeah. I know that for you, you probably took it hard because I would also take it hard if I was expecting to come out of something and have viewing parties or gigs or anything, and then things are not coming through. How did you take that internally? Like, did you? I would need 9 million therapy sessions. I feel like how did you come to
Yeah.
terms with everything?
Yeah. And I've been in counseling, and that's one of the good things that I got out of the show because basically after episode 2 aired, I emailed them and I was like, you guys are going to have to give me therapy because this is not good. So I got them to, get me counseling.
Good.
And, so I've been, dealing with the issues that come from that. And it was like on top of the show not doing that well, I also was the only one in the show that was allowed to look bad and the only one that was allowed to be embarrassed, the only one that was allowed to be portrayed negatively. When we're all human beings,
Mm-hmm.
we all have fully rounded personalities. We all said things that were shady. We all did things that were negative, but only mine were ever shown. And I'm not blaming it on the edit because, listen, blame it on the edit, blame it on the edit, but they can't put words in my mouth
Mm-hmm.
and they can't make me do things that I don't want to do. But what they can do is provide context and not provide context for things. So then you don't understand really what the full story of the situation is.
Yeah.
And you kind of expect people to have a more educated viewpoint of the show. because once you do the show, you kind of think that everyone understands that, you know, it's a 40-minute show, but they're capturing 24 hours of footage into 40 minutes, you know? So you're not going to see everything.
Yeah.
So you should take everything with a grain of salt. But as we see, like today, this week, Deja's getting attacked for no fucking reason. And what did she do? Speak her mind? Oh my God, God fucking forbid.
Yeah.
Like, how dare she be a plus size person, be a person of color, and speak her mind? You know, when a skinny white girl can do it and they're fine,
Yep.
you know? So the fan base has a lot of issues, and, you know, it's always easy to make the big girl the villain. It's always easy to make a person of color into a villain, you know, more so. And it's just crazy how things play into that. And it was upsetting to me and it was hurtful to me because when you're doing the show, and not even on the level of the public perception, but just on the level of the editors who I met and who I was working with them to create a show. So like we were working together and we're friendly and we talk on Instagram and shit. But then you're putting together an edit for this show where you're making me look fucking horrible. And everyone else, I'm not going to say any specific names or any specific comments or anything, but lots of other people had very shady negative things to say. And they were not shown. And you wonder why. Why do they only show negative from me and they only show positive from everyone else? It just seems to me that that's trying to paint a narrative that I am the villain, that I don't get along with all the other girls, which is not true. And I made great friendships in there. And from the moment I got in there, me, Suki, and Patia, we bonded instantly. And then over the next couple of days, I bonded a lot with Kimura. I bonded a lot with Stephanie. Towards the end, I was bonding a lot with Cynthia. I bonded with Kendall. Even Gia and I had bonding moments where we talked about, you know, feeling misunderstood. We talked about, you know, gender identity and all these things. And then it was all gone. It never happened, you know? So it's almost like you feel like you're being gaslighted, you know? Because it's like, I know what that experience was. And then you are telling me that it was
something else,
something completely different. And then the fans are backing you up because the fans only see what you want them to see. So it definitely feels like you're being gaslighted. And when RuPaul came out with the song Blame It on the Edit, I thought it was cute. I was like, okay, it's a funny little joke. It's like, you know, it's just a take on, you know, a popular concept, whatever. And I think it's funny. And it was a cute song, you know? I'm always here for RuPaul's music. I love RuPaul's music. But what I don't like is the fans using it to gaslight the queens. And I'm not just talking about me, but talking about all the queens across all the franchises. I see it so much. The queens are saying, you know, actually, like, this isn't this. And it's, oh, blame it on the edit, girl. Blame it on the edit. And it's like, girl, you weren't fucking there. I was there. And I'm not a fucking liar. So if I'm telling you something, it's fucking true. And whether you believe me or not, I don't give a fuck. But don't tell me to fucking blame it on the edit because I know the truth and you don't. Like, you can't tell someone who knows more than you that they're wrong. I'm sorry. That just doesn't make sense.
I think that the thing that's just so frustrating about that too is that you girls are having to work after this in these aspects of your life, you know, like you are a drag queen. This is your thing. It's totally different if it's The Bachelor or something and you're presented a certain way for a dating show or something, because that's not your career. Your career is not, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a serial dater for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And you know, it's kind of sad because it does affect our bookings. It affects our following. It affects, you know, how people perceive us, obviously in a major, major way. And I can't tell you how many times I was at a viewing party and doing a meet and greet, and people were saying to me, oh my God, we were scared to meet you because we thought you were going to be so rude. Like, we thought you were going to be a bitch. We thought you were going to be so negative, da, da, da. But I'm a fucking lovely person. Like, newsflash, if you come up to me and say hello to me, I am wonderful to talk to, and I'm funny, I'm charismatic, and I love meeting people, and I do great fucking meet and greets. But people don't know that because people aren't booking me because of how the show portrayed me. Because the people are not asking for me because they think I'm going to be a fucking bitch. And that's just not true. Like, I would never be rude to someone for no reason. That's not who I am. And, you know, everything you see on TV, like, is not 100% the truth. And you have to learn to separate that and just take it with a grain of salt. Like, yes, that's an aspect of her personality, but that's fine. Like, it's just everyone, we're all full people, and you can't show the full, 360-degree view of a person as they are in 40 minutes. It just doesn't
Yeah.
work.